Welcome to Cats and Rats Podcast, covering your Florida Panthers.
Hey everyone, welcome to the newest episode of the Cats and Rats. Episode, what is this, 29? Thomas Vokoun. Cody, you mentioned to me off air, former Panther, former
Hall of Famer,
former Shark, former what?
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer now. That's right, Mike Vernon. You had some other numbers there.
Yeah, Johan Garpenlov. This is hockey reference, so if I get it wrong, it ain't my fault. And then most recently, it was Harry Sateri.
Oh, Harry Sateri. He wasn't too bad for us.
No, not him or Rito Berra. They were pretty good.
No, I'm here as always with my co-host Cody Stevens as well. Nick Levine is with us tonight. This is our big division preview show. We're going to kind of start with the non-playoff teams. Cody, Nick. Cody's going to be working some double duties with us here, putting kind of the lineups on our YouTube channel side. So make sure you're over on the YouTube side because you're going to get to see the lineup projections. We'll try to talk it out as best we can. And we'll try to go through the teams in somewhat timely order. We'll each kind of pose a question or comment that we probably have on both of these teams, or sorry, all of these teams. So are we going to start with Montreal there, Cody?
Yeah, I mean, start from the bottom, go to the top.
Yeah, last year they were 30, 36, and 16, 76 points, 15 points clear of any look at a playoff spot. 236 goals for, 289 against. Their ads, Patrick Laine, which we're going to get into here in a second, Barre Boulet, Hudson, and Waugh, the rookies. One on the back end, one up front there. Joshua Waugh, as you guys can see on your screen there. But yeah, Cody, Nick, go ahead. What are your thoughts on
lineups right here for those who are listening? First line goes as follows. At center, you have Nick Suzuki. Left wing, Cole Caulfield. At right wing, former first overall pick, Juraj Slafkovsky. Second line, you have Kirby Dach, Alex Newhook, and they have Patrick Laine listed here, who is out 4 to 6 months now. So I suspect Josh Anderson to move up and take that spot, which he's on the third line, right wing projectedly, and then Christian Dvorak and then Joshua Waugh. Or Roy, I don't know if he's French or American, don't know the difference. And then fourth line, you have Jake Evans, Yoel Armia, and then Kirby's favorite, have Brendan Gallagher. And then on the back end, first pairing with Mike Matheson, Caden Gooley. Yeah, and by the way, Mike Matheson is actually somewhat decent now. So
they say according to the eye test and analytics.
I mean, we can't really fight on either of those. I don't remember him being that horrible for him. And then second pair, you have David Savard on the right side, and then the highly touted prospect Lane Hutson on the left, a guy who is very dynamic with the puck. Can't wait to watch him this year. And then bottom pair, you have Justin Barron on the right side, and then Wi-Fi Arbor Jackeye on the left. And then their goalies goes as follows. They have Samuel Montembeault and Caden Primo. And I suspect maybe Alex Barre-Boulet getting into the lineup with the line injury.
Yeah, good point. Where do you guys want to start here?
Well, they have a lot more forward depth than I thought before I read this list.
Yeah, and I think, as you mentioned, Josh Anderson can bump up and in Patrick Laine. That's going to kill their depth a bit, guys.
Yeah, I also think another guy, Christian Dvorak, has had some trouble staying healthy over the last couple of years. That's going to be key for him to stay healthy. Traded a first-round pick for him a couple of years ago. An interesting stat that I didn't know until I was doing our research for this was their top 4 scorers played all 82 games last year. Slafkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield, and Matheson. Yes. So
did you say they've been healthy there, Nick?
Yeah,
they've been all 82 games last year.
Because I've seen another stat: the last 2 to 3 seasons, they've lost the most man games due to injury.
That's the other part. So Sean Monahan last year, I know he got traded at the deadline. He played pretty much every game up for them until the deadline. So really, last year, you take a look. I mean, their top 5 scorers played almost every game up until the deadline. Alex Newhook was number 6, and that's kind of, for me, and I kind of an X factor with this. Obviously, Suzuki's going to have to pick up where he left off last year. And he had 77 points in 82 games, 33 goals. It's a lot of talk about, his development. We saw Montreal get better. I mean, saw him play the Panthers, right? Like, usually it would be, a blowout, right? Like, over the 2-3 years ago, even Paul, his first year when we were having trouble, we were struggling. We would pretty easily beat up on the Canadiens. And I believe every game outside of the first or second one was a 1-score game, or they either beat us or it was a 1-score game. There was a game that we won in overtime against them. I think 3-2 on home ice. There was the one we lost at the end of the year, 5-2. There was the New Year's Eve one where I think it was actually 4-2, so it wasn't a one-score game, but it was we were down by 2, I think, in the third period. So they really improved, and when you watch them, a lot of young talent. I think obviously Suzuki and Caulfield, they're fine and all. I think number one, it's going to be Slavkovsky. That's going to be the number one. If he can really pick up where he left off last year, the second half of the year, they're going to be in really good shape. Again, it's not really high expectations this year, although they could. Who knows? And Alex Nowicki at 34 points at 55 games, came over from Colorado 2 years ago. I think that's another nice guy who's added to that young core of players they got. And a guy I picked, who I think could be really the rookie of the year if he gets that power play time, is Lane Hudson. I mean,
that's the guy I stand for.
He's a dark horse, but
a dark horse, but I think he could easily. I think he can win it. Biggest question: some defense. I know they're Caden Gooley. He's hurt right now. He was hurt last year. Mike Matheson, Savard, as I just mentioned. How are they going to perform in front of Sam Montembeau? Kirby, I believe you mentioned the other day, what is it? Montembeau's going to get 50 and Primo's going to get 30, and they're not going to run a third goaltender?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, because they ran that third goalie system with Jake Allen last year.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
they thing done that with that, Cody, with that development curve.
Yeah, I mean before this podcast recording, I think all of us, Kirby was the most one trying to figure out a way for Montreal to get out of the basement. And now with the line injury, I find that harder to believe that they will get out of the basement. And
I wasn't trying to base it just on that, but good point.
But it takes a huge hit because of it.
Yeah, it's one of the 2, 3, 4 things they need to do.
And it's because I really felt that would have been a good fit for them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think it really. I mean, obviously Montreal, there's pressure, but there's really, it's a news change.
It's a rebuilding pressure.
I think
it fills their depth on the wing that they had.
And I think you were talking about it. They had some of the best right wing depth in our division. Obviously, prior to the Lightning injury you mentioned.
Me and Cody were digging into that.
We were shocked by their forward depth. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean.
Now they got another year of Josh Anderson. It's a little older, and the concerning thing is Brandon Gallagher, where they got down on the third, fourth line. You're gonna have to start bumping out into the top 6, top 9 with this injury, and
but
gonna happen.
Gallagher is more of a wily vet now. Still a pest to play against. I'd still take him on my team, but
I mean, again, I think it's a team that has a lot of talent, a lot of young talent. I think. This is obviously, again, rebuilding year. This is the type of year you're going to see individuals more than evaluate individuals than team performance.
Yeah.
Although
David Reinbacher might be out long term too. They're young.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think it's a
might
team.
not have got in the lineup.
I think it's a team. I don't think it's just
Toronto
a team that's
killed them.
I don't think it's a team that's just going to get rolled over like they were getting rolled over 1 or 2 years ago. I think these are going to be competitive games. Like, they could be playing spoiler at the end of the year, for certain teams. So.
They've
maybe
been
not mid-80s, but maybe not as high as I would have had them. Maybe not even mid-80s.
78 to 82 range is where I have them.
Yeah,
that's
Cody, maybe.
I think around there. I think the high can maybe get to 84, 85. If But again, I just don't see that big jump, especially with Lion out a significant amount of time. Reinbacher. Again, a lot would have to go right. Like it would have to be a big time, improvement from somebody or surprise from somebody.
So you guys have them in the basement?
But I will preface this by saying this: you put them in any other division, they're not last.
Yeah. No. Point. Okay, next we got.
Next up, I believe we will go to Ottawa.
Ottawa, 37, 41, and 4 last year, 78 points. I was a good 12 to 14 points off. I had them around.
Tried to tell you, big dog. Tried to tell you.
Had them around 92 points last year. Goals for 255, goals against 281. Couldn't keep the puck out of their net. That was a big problem with Ottawa. And their additions this offseason: David Perron, our very own Nick Cousins, Michael Amadio from the Vegas Golden Knights, Nick Jensen on the blue line, Noah Gregor from the Maple Leafs, and the big addition in net, Ullmark. Cody.
And shall we go through the lines once again? For those listening on audio, their lines goes as follows. First line, down the middle, you have Tim Stützle. Left wing, you have every Panthers fan's dream trade acquisition in Brady Tkachuk. And our right winger, we have Mr. former Panther trade deadline acquisition, Claude Giroux. Second line, we have another Kirby guy, Mr. Shane Pinto. At left wing, he's injured. And this guy's always injured, Mr. Josh Norris.
And they could play him at center, so we'll see what they do there.
On their second line right wing, a very underrated player, Mr. Drake Batherson. And then the bottom six, Wolf. Third line center, Ridley Gregg, very tough customer, a pest to play against. Left wing, the wily veteran David Perron. And then on the right wing, old friend Nicky Cousins.
I don't mind that third line. I don't mind it, but this is where you start to see their depth kind of thin out.
And then fourth line. And for you guys, not a lot of you probably know this name, but a fourth line center, you have Mr. Zach Ospachuk. I'm going to give up. Left wing, we got Mr. Noah Gregor, former Maple Leaf. And then right wing, a guy we know well from Vegas, Mr. Michael Amadio. Fourth line.
Not bad there on the right side.
I
would swap Amadio and Cousins.
Cousins, yes.
Swap Amadio and Cousins.
Yeah.
And again, I don't love the fourth line, but you know what?
And then the new D pairings with the departure of Jacob Chikrin. Left side, first pair, you have Mr. Jake Sanderson and Artem Zub. Second pair, Mr. Thomas Chabot and Nick Jensen. And then the third pair, Tyler Clevin and Mr. Jacob Bernard Docker, and their goalies, who this year are Mr. Linus Ullmark and Anton Forsberg.
I don't love the depth guys on D or forward. Goaltending, if they can stay healthy, but they have to be a light of their team.
I agree with you, Kirby. I mean, well, let's start first of all with Tim Stützle. Was battling an injury last year, I believe. Played 75 games. He had 70 points. He's going to need to bounce back.
Is that why he flopped all year?
Well, I mean, that's a separate issue, but no, I just think, they're going to need a lot better from him if they want to have any chance of competing for the playoffs. Ottawa, I believe, came within 1 or 2 points of making the playoffs 2 seasons ago. I think they had 92, right?
I think that was
91,
Buffalo?
92. I believe Ottawa did too.
They were close there at the end of the year. They had that back-to-back, I believe, with Detroit.
That really screwed them over.
They were close. That was just the year where everyone was in it.
But I think it's going to start with Tim Stützle. I mean, he wasn't even a point per game last year. I mean, and he had, I believe, 99 points the year prior. So if they're going to want to be improving on what they did last year, and really, I'm not really sure exactly where they're at right now, or where their new GM Stayhouse, I believe, thinks they're at right now. We'll see. So number one will be Tim Stützle. Like you said about the depth, I mean, I just feel like a lot has to go right. I mean, Josh Norris is a big question mark, large cap hit, a lot of injury problems. I believe he only played 58 games in the last 2 years. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't have the number right in front of me, but I believe that's
last kick of the can or two at the NHL here if he's
I don't know about at the NHL, but with Ottawa, I think so.
With Ottawa, I think.
I worry his long-term health.
And really, it's like, I thought last year's team, frankly, I thought they were better on paper. I mean, I was with you, Kirby. I wasn't so high on Ottawa, but I thought they had a nice offseason last year. I mean, I know Chychrun was brought in at the deadline, but, Korpisalo was there, the new goaltender. You get some veteran depth defensemen. You get, Pinto, I know, had that issue. But again, I thought they had a pretty good team. Tarasenko would come in, but I just feel like 1 or 2 injuries and to anywhere in their forward lineup, and it's done. And I like Nick Jensen. I like him a lot. But again, I just feel they weren't going to get a better top 4 defenseman than they were defense than they were going to get the year prior.
I just want to go to Cody on that. Cody, I think on Nick's point there, if they don't stay healthy on the back end, they're hooped. And a guy like Thomas Chabot needs to be healthy. He's trying to compete for a spot in the 4 Nations. If he doesn't stay healthy, Cody, do you agree? Like this is going to turn ugly here with their back end.
There are 5 guys they cannot lose, and I mean at any point. If it's like 5+ games, they cannot lose.
Really, they can't afford to lose anybody. But if they lose one of those 5 guys,
there's 5. Tkachuk,
it's done.
Stützle, Sanderson, Chabot, Ullmark.
Yep.
I don't know about Giroux.
I'm going to be. I agree with you.
You can survive. I don't think you can survive on any of those.
I think Shane Pinto's around that 6-7 line.
Well, because here's the thing.
There,
I think one injury,
Yeah,
especially any one injury. I mean, I think the
they're
line
fragile
there is a Matteo. I mean, I think you could really not afford to lose a Matteo at this point, but at any point, really. But anything above anything above
the middle,
anything above Michael Amadio, I think they really cannot afford to lose, and then they'll be really in trouble because again.
Like if they lose Batherson or Giroux, they can manage that for a little bit, but then they're losing goal scoring. If they lose defense, then they're losing the support for the goalie. If they lose goalie health, then they're in the same situation as last year.
One of the big question marks for me, and I don't know if it is for you, is Josh Norris. I mean, this guy's going to be taking a top 6 role in the forward core this year. I mean, I get it. He's 2 years removed from a 30-goal season, or 3 years. But I mean, I have a really tough time thinking he's going to have like a bounce back year. I don't think he'll ever be what they signed him at 8x8. And frankly, they need that. I mean, for a team like we just talked about lacking depth, and in particular in the top 9, very fragile, like you just said, Kirby. I mean, I really think Josh Norris is going to struggle this year. And I might be wrong, but I don't think he's going to have as prominent an impact as he needs to be. And if he doesn't, you have a top 6 forward not producing what he needs to be, and he's not producing the $8 million clip you're paying him.
Yeah. So we're kind of being negative here, guys, but let's kind of wrap on Ottawa. Where do you kind of have them? I kind of have them not as high as last year, but I'm going to have them around that playoff bubble, but maybe short of it, maybe 5th in the Atlantic. We'll get to the other 2 teams here in a second, but I think things can go right for them that we haven't really talked about in net. And obviously if they can stay healthy, that'll be big on the back end of the blue. I have them around 5th. Close to.
I was higher on them last year.
88 points, maybe a 10-point improvement.
I was higher on them last year.
I tried to tell you about them last year. I
thought they were. I was kind of closer to where Kirby was. I knew he was really high on them.
I had no faith in that goaltending tandem.
No,
so I got them at 88. Are you guys around there at all?
Around there. And another thing we didn't even talk about: Travis Green, new coach coming in.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see. He had some time off. I think about 2 or 3 years. To really, and we see coaches get a second chance to do great. Some get a second chance, they don't do great.
Usually the ones don't do great. And Travis Green was a pretty mid coach. But
yeah, so I mean, we'll see.
He was very good in the AHL.
So we'll see. I mean,
could be a Peter DeBoer situation.
I'm at around 85 to 88. I mean,
I have him at 85, and I have him 6th in the Atlantic.
Okay,
it's not far off of me, but they're going to feel pretty dejected if they come in 5th or 6th and just fall short because they.
I think if they do come in 5th or 6th, if they're not within like 5 points of a playoff spot, I think there's going to be something. There's going to be a big move in there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. They got to try to go for it this year. Okay, so we're all kind of almost in consensus this year.
Next up, another team 2 years ago that barely missed out on the playoffs and fell short of expectations last year. We are going all the way to Buffalo, a team that has not made the playoffs since 2009.
Buffalo 39, 37, and 6, 84 points, fell a handful points short of a playoff spot. 246 goals for last year. That was their really bugaboo. They could not put the puck in the net like they did 2 years ago. Goals against 244. They did get some great goaltending last year, a pretty steady goaltending. The additions this year: Ryan McLeod from Edmonton, Kubel, Sam Lafferty that we got to see in that Toronto series against Florida, Jason Zucker, and James Reimer for some goaltending insurance. Guys, your thoughts on Buffalo?
Okay, well, Buffalo lines goes as follows here. First line, this is projected, so it probably won't be night 1, but first line you have Tage Thompson, JJ Peterka, and then Mr. Alex Tuck. Second line, you have Dylan Cousins, second-year man, Zach Benson, and then Mr. Jack Quinn. Third line, the speedster Ryan McLeod that we just saw in the Stanley Cup final, Jason Zucker, and then big physical presence Jordan Greenway. And then in the fourth line, you have Sam Lafferty in the middle, Beck Malenstein, a guy that they acquired for, I believe, a 2nd or a 3rd round pick, and Nicholas Aube-Kubel, the journeyman. And then on the defense, you have newly named captain Mr. Rasmus Dahlin, paired up with the wily veteran. I can't believe I'm saying this with this guy, but Henry Jokiharju. Second pair, newly acquired Bowen Byram at last year's deadline, and Owen Power. And their third pair, Matthias Samuelsson and Connor Clifton. Their goalies are Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and former Panther prospect Devin Levi.
Let's go to the defense there again, Cody. Do you think they're sticking with those pairings? Like Jokiharju with Dahlin?
I think so.
They're not going to experiment Dahlin Power?
I like the idea of having one of those guys on the ice for 40 minutes a night.
Yeah, they might be looking at that.
And I thought Byram was electric as soon as he was acquired there. He was great for him.
I really think they needed him because I'm not a big Matthias Samuelsson fan. So if that bumps him down to a bottom pairing situation, I'm totally fine with that. That contract isn't the best, but is it 4.25?
It's like 4.6 million. It's
not great for bottom pairing, but if you've got a guy like Byram there, that's not going to take up.
I also think Clifton, did a Kirby. You wanted him to.
Yeah, I like him on our team now.
But acquired him.
He was bad last year. He was probably the one they
good
sucked
last year. So they're gonna.
Yeah, but put him in our system.
Yeah, well, they're gonna need.
I don't.
Him to play better. I also think Owen Power needs to take that next step.
Yeah, especially offensively, I'd say too.
Yeah. Rasmus Dahlin, we obviously know how great he is. This is the first year of an 8 by 11.5 or something.
It's not. Is it that high?
I believe it is. I mean, it was over. It was a ridiculous amount.
Between 10.5 and 11.5, I thought.
Something crazy like that. We could check right now, but again, I think it's really gonna
11 million.
Yeah. So I mean,
boy, he needs a couple more assists in that one.
Yeah. So
that's one of Vince's favorite defensemen, our very own Vincent.
11 million. Yeah.
Again, we'll see. Lindy Ruff's back there. And
former Panther assistant coach.
As good as the defense. I mean, I think there's a lot of potential here. I really think.
There's a stat I just want to throw in here that we threw in our Spaces preview show that I found, Cody, on the NHL Media Guide. The Buffalo Sabres haven't been in the playoffs since Lindy Ruff has been in Buffalo, I think. Is that right?
It's something like that because they're who they go after Lindy. I think they went to Ted Nolan.
Yeah.
And then Bilesma was there for a cup of coffee.
What's the guy from Edmonton? Ralph Kruger, was he there?
Yes.
Ralph was there before.
Wasn't he the U.S. National Development Team guy, or was that Granado?
He got the job hire from a Zoom meeting. Like we're on.
It might have been Granado. I'm not sure. One of the two. I think it might have been Granado.
Anyway, I think obviously Dahlin, Power, Byram, that's important, and I don't really have it down in them. I think what really is going to get this team going, obviously, UPL needs to pick it up from where he left off last year. I think if you told Sabre fans they were going to get that type of goaltending and miss the playoffs, they probably wouldn't have believed you.
They would have set their house on fire.
I mean, right? So
that's one of the prizes of the division last year.
So it's like the whole talk of the offseason was Devin Levi, Devin Levi, and it wasn't. And UPL did phenomenal for them. I mean, he did really well for them. They gave him the goaltending they were looking for, and it just
it's almost like they switched jerseys and they're like.
And Tage Thompson again, similar to what Stützle in Ottawa, their best player. He was hurt. He didn't really have as good a year. He's going to need to bounce back. I really like Jack Quinn and Zach Benson. I think they're going like Zach Benson. I think he played 8 games at the end of last year. I think his first NHL goal. It was against Washington. It was an in between the legs goal. And when he was drafted, a lot of people are talking about what a steal it was. So I really think
I'd like to see Benson with Ryan McLeod.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I wanted to talk about those bottom 6 guys like Beck Mallenstein and Avi Kubel and Ryan McLeod. Obviously, a lot of speed. I'm not really sure why they traded a 2nd-round pick for Mallenstein. I remember looking at that.
They must have really liked him. I
mean, they must have seen something in him. But
how about a line of Benson, McLeod, and Greenway? That would be an interesting one. Greenway, Cody's fan of his.
There's a lot of versatility there where they could get an injury here and there, and they can move some stuff around. So depth of again, it's just really.
I don't love their tops. I like some of their top 6 guys, but it's not good enough to be in the class of the top 3 or 4 in the land.
No, I think it'd be their top guys performing at a.
They get pushed out of games. Like they're fun and exciting to watch. Our fans,
right.
A lot of them.
It's going to be about structure. It's going to be about structure.
And you can't get pushed out of games.
And they got to be. And what they got to learn is they got to learn smart and patient. They can't force things in certain scenarios. They need to learn, right? So I think and there might be some growing pains.
Buffalo's a team, guys. if they give too many points away, losing these interdivision games, that's going to really hurt them because I don't think they match up great in the division that they're in. That's going to be the challenge, I think.
I think they can do well against a Toronto, now a Tampa, honestly. But I think they struggle versus the Floridas and the Bostons. Like, just heavier style teams. Like, I think they can burn by Tampa with their speed, with Tampa getting older. Because they do have some burners.
Safety, if Buffalo gives points away there, that's
Yeah.
where they're going to be battling.
But, like,
I don't know if they play each other at the end of the year a lot, but those would be key games.
But for me, I have Buffalo around 87 to 90 points. They're my fifth place team in the Atlantic.
I've got them lower around what they were last year. They were at 84. I've got them around that, maybe lower.
I'm right near Cody. I'm right. I'm thinking like 88, 92. I really think some things could go
92
for them.
Nick, you got them in the playoffs?
88 to 92. I think they're going to be right on that cusp around where Detroit was last year. I think they'll be fighting for a playoff spot.
So you don't have them in. You'd have them short?
Or fighting for a playoff. They're going to be playing meaningful games.
I guess that you're saying fighting, but if you had to pick one way or another, would you have them in or out if you have them at 92 or around there?
Do I have to pick 4 Atlantic teams? I mean, or 5 Atlantic teams?
Me and Cody got 4 this year. I don't have 5.
I don't. I would lean no on the playoff.
I think there are 7 playoff locks and there's 1 spot up for grabs.
So Cody, you don't have them in then because you have them less than Nick.
I think I have them first one out because
That's what I have.
There's another team in the Metro that I like better.
Yeah, I would take the under on that, but you guys got them around that.
In my opinion, they're either the first one out or they're like right, like they just sneak in. But
yeah, and I could be wrong in that because Lindy Ruff could be really key for this.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of talent there. They were playing really well. Again, we'll see. Maybe they're just excited to get going. But I think a lot of
they just need some sort of structure. Just something, because they were playing too much like they were playing like us in the brunette days.
Yeah, and they also very well might, like UPL might just not pick up where he left off last year and completely fall apart and everything,
I don't.
It's done by December for them. We don't know, right? I could see that happening too, but I don't think
this is why it's hard to pick one of these damn teams because we're sitting here trying to figure out.
Well, the next thing we're going to talk about
themselves completely.
The next thing we're going to talk about, I'm really not a fan of. So let's.
I'm not either.
I'm not a fan of that.
But before we talk about them, I have this puck right here from the Vegas Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers Stanley Cup Final. This is a bittersweet memory for a lot of people here. But for me, this is where we won our first Stanley Cup Final game. Shout out Carter Verhaeghe. And Nick, I'm curious, where can you find stuff like these?
We can get it at our sponsor, Caneswear. Panthers Fever is here. Are you geared up? Caneswear in Davie is the place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team, jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. Caneswear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or go to PanthersWear, WEAR.com for all your Panthers gear.
This is the Cats and Rats podcast. And now, a special segment.
Next up here, we have the team that I believe was the first team out of the playoffs last year. It wasn't due to points, it was due to regulation wins. So, people.
91 points.
Regulation wins do matter.
278 goals for, 274 against. Their additions this year, former Panther, Vladimir Tarasenko. In net, Cam Talbot, Cody. You're going to talk about him a little bit. Jack Campbell, Eric Gustafson on the blue line. I think the three of us kind of like him, but go ahead, Cody. What's the lineup?
All right, so the lines goes as follows. The first line will stay the same as last year. Dylan Larkin, Alex DeBrincat, Lucas Raymond. At the start of the year, this was the best line in hockey for about 3 weeks. And then after that, down the drain they went. Second line, JT Compher, Vladimir Tarasenko, and Patrick Kane. This is a very veteranosity line. Could be pretty slow, but I don't think that will be the final line. But anyway, third line, Andrew Kopp, Michael Rasmussen, Kristen Fisher. That's a pretty big line. I'm not going to lie. Rasmussen's a big boy. Kopp's plays very heavy. And Fisher could do very well with that. Fourth line, Joe Veleno, Jonathan Berggren, and Tyler Mott. On the defense is where we begin to see the trash bags, ladies and gentlemen. And on the right side, on the first pair, the only shining light on this D, Mort Seider.
I
And
think Cody hates the D the most on Detroit and any team in the league.
it is by far the worst in the Atlantic
Loses his
Division.
mind. We talked about our Spaces preview show about
And
Gabe.
the guy
It's a
agreed with me.
joke. It's a joke.
The guy
that
agreed
defense.
with me.
Well, you guys are really.
And then
I'm going to pick apart the rest of their lineup, so you guys spend your time
And-
on the defense. I'm going to cover the forwards.
And the left side, we have former Panther, the maligned trade deadline acquisition, Ben Sherratt. Second pair, you have, I believe this is going to be his rookie year, Simon Edvinsson, Swedish defenseman, top 5 pick from a couple years ago. On the right side, you have former Hab, Jeff Petrie. And then on the left, you have journeyman Oli Mata. And then on the right side, you have former Ranger Eric Gustafson. And in net, they have about 14 different guys.
Yeah, so don't just look at the screen here.
So you have Cam Talbot and Alex Lyon. They also do have Jack Campbell and Ville Husso, who they signed a couple years ago in free agency. This team's defense core is terrible.
Let's start from the
I
top.
want to.
I want to jump in here. I want to jump in because you guys are going to cover the defense ad nauseum. I want to start at the top. Cody mentioned the best line in hockey last year for 3-4 weeks. Alex DeBrincat, if you guys look at his splits, it's crazy in October. Last year, I think he had, was it 10 goals or something in 9 games?
He had something like that. It was the highest shooting percentage in the league. It was ridiculous. And
a goal per game.
It was like for the first. I think it went into November.
It went into November.
I think it went into November.
Then he heated up again in January. So I just want to cover the forwards really quick. I don't buy into Patrick Kane and Vladimir Tarasenko this year, let alone for the next year or 2 or 3. I
have the break splits, by the way.
I don't buy into this forward group that everyone speaks so highly on. That had scored 278 goals last year. I don't see a repeat in that, and I still think they have.
And remember how good the power play started off too. The power play was unbelievable. Go ahead, Cody.
I have the break it splits right here. In the month of October, in 10 games, he had 9 goals and 4 assists for 13 points.
Yep.
With 17 minutes of ice time, 3 of those being power play goals, and besides that, his best month was actually December, but he only had 5 goals, 12 assists for 17 points. For your plus minus people out there, he was a -7.
Well, how many goals did he end up with for the whole year?
He ended up with 27 and 40 assists for 67 points.
That's not good enough.
Now, Ottawa would like to take some of those points that Detroit banks early in the season and give them to them. But the Detroit first half Warrior team, when they played us in that national televised game last year, that was a huge game for them. And they sunk after that. We took all the morale out of them.
We bullied the hell out of them.
And here's the thing, there are some nice individual pieces. Like
exactly. I don't think they're a team.
Larkin's good, like individual, okay. Like I'll just speak about, like, I can look at that team, and this is how I look at them. That's a team I want to be trading with at the trade deadline because there's some pieces there I like that we can grab.
But I don't know. Will they be trading at the trade deadline?
It's just more of a hypothetical thing. I don't.
They got to do something here because
it's my highest ceiling to floor team, probably in the division. Definitely non-player.
I think the forwards are slightly above average, and then when you consider that with the other parts, Kirby, do you have anything else to say on the forwards?
No, we can move on. I think they need to have a barrier from Andrew Cobb.
They have a slightly.
I don't think they're good down the middle, but if you guys want to get into the D and goalie,
they have a slightly above average forward core
and a bottom 5 defense core,
and a terrible. Like, I don't think people realize I'm sure we do, how bad Jeff Petrie is. He is brutal. He is so bad. And Ben Sherratt, it's not like Ben Sherratt's phenomenal or anything. Is he great? No.
He's still serviceable. As a bottom pair.
But here's the thing.
But you're paying him $4.5 million.
Sider's all by himself. They signed Justin Hall, who's a healthy scratch. I don't even know if he's on the team anymore. They might have traded him. They traded Jake Wallman.
He's for some unknown reason. I have no idea why they traded Wallman.
He didn't have a good year last year, but there are a lot of other defensemen on that team I would have traded before him. And outside of Moritz Seider, Edmondson, he's a rookie. I'm not expecting much from him.
I like him a lot, but I don't know.
But again, like, outside of Moritz Seider and like, there's nobody that should even be a top 4 defenseman on any contending team in the NHL. And I'm just going to say this. I was talking to you about this the other day, Kirby. if that were my defense after years of rebuilding, if I were making the decisions,
I'd be livid.
I'd be livid. I'd be like, what in the world? They're spending, I think, $18 million on 4 players. It's Andrew Kopp, JT Compher, Ben Sherratt, and Justin Holl. What are you getting from those players?
One of my favorite guys might be on their bottom pairing, Eric Gustafsson. I think he's a good.
Like,
Gustafsson's good,
fine, but like, again, I mean, really, like, this is the team that's like, oh, the eyes are planned, we're rebuilding, and that's the defense you put together, and then you pair it with a slightly above average forward core with a bunch of.
But listen to this, you guys crap on Ottawa for allowing 281 goals last year. They didn't have good goaltending. I don't have New Jersey's numbers in front of me. They didn't have good goaltending. Detroit allowed 274 goals. When does the buck stop at the defense and you start to look at the goaltending? And they've got.
Well, it's both.
When you have 4 goalies, to me,
It's
you have
both.
none.
It's both. Like,
It's
if you're like, again, Ville Husso, completely freaking. That's like he doesn't even play anymore.
Listen. I have something to say on Ville Husso though. The whole signing a former backup to become a starter almost never works nowadays. Korpisalo didn't work. Carter Hutton a couple years ago didn't work.
Mike
Ville
Smith,
Husso
back before that.
I think Mike Smith's actually one of the few success stories.
Who was the one that was the summer? It was Ville Husso and Vanacek. Vanacek's
Maybe
the
Mike
other
Smith's
one.
Oh yeah, Vanacek
Vanacek's the other.
didn't work. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just with Detroit and not like their goaltending is Cam Talbot, Alex Lyon, Jack Campbell, and Ville Husso, which I would not be surprised if 3 of those 4 guys played games for Detroit this year. You know, injuries and maybe underperformance from some guys and they just need to.
I think you're going to see all 4 play games for them.
If Jack Campbell plays a game for them, I think.
I want to add a 5th name that me and Cody heard.
Sebastian
from
Cossa.
Our Spaces preview.
That is, I mean, DEFCON 5. Everything has gone completely wrong. They have a team save percentage of like 885. Like it's like the Panthers versus Tampa Bay in 2021.
But if you're ready to go to Costa, why are you making these signings in the offseason?
They're not.
They don't believe
his development's
he's
not going well. I think he was in the ECHL at one point last year.
Granted, since we're going to talk about a rookie, there is a rookie still in their camp that could possibly make the team. He was the second line center between Tarasenko and Kane for today's game, and that's Nate Danielson, their 1st round pick. I don't remember if he was. I think he was not this year, but last year. Vince is probably going to bribe me because I don't know, but I know he was a 1st round pick of them, and he's still with the team. That could be another factor for him down the middle because they really don't have that much answers.
I don't love any part of this team.
It's just
no, I don't, and I'll say this:
it's a team that has to outscore their problems.
I want to put this team last. Yeah. With Montreal's situation right now, I can't, but I'm going to have them second last.
If I'm a Red Wings fan, and I wait all these years for a rebuild, if you take a look at this roster, would you think they're in year 5 or 6 of a rebuild?
I would have assumed like 3.
I'm going to be honest. I think
where are the
going into a rebuild, they need to rebuild.
No insult to Vladimir Tarasenko, but where are the big additions when you have 91?
They had him. It was Hall and Sherratt. They paid damn near.
Yeah, and then the year before it was Kopp.
Is it Sam Bennett next year?
Summer.
Sorry, fan.
Summer. Nobody. They wanted to get Aaron Ekblad. There was a Trouba thing, the Trouba rumors, and the Ekblad rumors. Now, again, I know you're going to say Jacob Trouba.
I don't love Trouba or Ekblad.
I know you don't.
Somewhere else.
This could be a Sam Bennett target here for all we know. They're weak down the middle.
Weren't they in on Stamkos?
Yep. I mean, of course, Yzerman. But Stamkos is a winger at this point. But
John was in on him and stuff.
But here's the thing. They have the highest ceiling and the lowest floor.
Yep.
Of the 3 teams. And the 4 teams that we have discussed so far. And to me, their range is between 85 points to 95 points.
I got them below 85.
Oh, I do too.
No, that's their range.
Oh, I agree. Yes, the ceiling floor, yes.
My floor is lower than that.
Floor is like what, 82?
I might be 80, 82. I might be like a 10.
I don't know about 80. 80 is like damn near top 5 pick.
I'm very low on them.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going 83 to 85. I
No,
really don't.
You're around me, Nick. 82,
Yeah.
83, I'll go then.
I don't really see the vision
I'm gonna
here.
have them 86. I think they're second to last. If I said something
Like, that
different for Ottawa-
defense
That's
is
a good
just-
division then, if they're
that-
second last with that.
It's
That
the Atlantic-
defense is really, really
the Atlantic
bad.
Division is the best division in hockey, and you want to know why? We have 7 teams that could possibly, realistically, have a chance to make the playoffs this year. 7. Like, if we're all being realistic, Detroit has a realistic shot to make the playoffs. Buffalo does, and so does Ottawa. And the other 4 are playoff locks. So that's
I'm just going to say this. I think between Detroit, Ottawa, and Buffalo, I think Detroit's probably third.
I want to amend what Cody said. He might amend it himself. I don't know if we have 4 playoff locks, as we're going to get to a team here in a second.
No, I don't think
Some
we do
people
either.
don't think they're a lock.
Mm-mm.
I'm not. Look,
No, you
rule-
might not be, but I'm saying others.
Hey, others. But here's the thing. My rule is I ain't saying they're dead until they're dead, and I don't think they're dead quite yet.
I'm not against you on this. But
But
were we going to get to
we're-
Tampa here then?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the team you're talking about, and here we are
Yeah.
with the rivals that we finally conquered in the Tampa Bay Lightning.
98 points last year, Cody. 45, 29, and 8. 291 goals for, 268 against for a plus 23. Their additions this year, obviously Jake Gensel, JJ Moser, Cam Atkinson. I've liked him over the years, and Gergensen as well up front. A lot of their
Zemgus
additions up
Girgensons.
front.
All right, first line goes as follows: Braden Point, Jake Gensel, Nikita Kucherov. Second line: Anthony Cirelli, Brandon Hagel, Connor Sherry. Third line: Nick Paul, Mitchell Shafee, Cam Atkinson. Fourth line: Luke Glendenny, Jesse Alonen, and Zemgus Girgensons. Their defense is Victor Hedman, first pair with JJ Mosier. Second pair, the returning cup-winning second pair, Ryan McDonough,
That's
Eric
right.
Chernak. And the bottom pair with it being Darren Radish and Nick Perbix. Their goalies are Andrei Vasilevsky and Panther legend Jonas Johansson.
Where do you guys want to start? And let's not get into Stamkos talk too much. If you guys want to hear the Stamkos talk, please go back to our episode with Rod Peterson in the summer. So let's not go.
A quick
crazy.
caveat: Michael Eishimon is hurt, so he's not in this lineup. So I would knock down Atkinson to 4 and put. Actually, no, I'd probably knock
Over
Sherry.
Chafee.
No, Eishimon's gonna be top 6. So
Yeah. I think they could have done better in the offseason.
they had the
with-
second most confused. They had the most.
Yeah,
confusing offseason to
I
me.
think they could have done a little bit better in the offseason.
But could they have with cap and stuff?
Yeah, I think there could have been a little bit more value. I mean, I don't know the exact guys off the top of my head, but I'm sure there were guys out there that, were available for cheap prices, right? Again, Connor Sherry's making $2 million. You could have figured out a way to move that off. But maybe they think he can bounce back, right? If Connor Sherry
Or maybe
bounces
no one wanted that money.
or that. I'm sure you could have found it. It's not too
Yeah,
hard to
but-
but I'll take a look at the forwards. I mean, still like the top end talent with
Top 6 is still
Their
pretty
power
good.
play was north of 28. This year I've got them about
Yeah.
25, 26%. Is that fine for power play?
I think so.
around
'cause you're
that.
lo-
It's gonna
'cause-
take a little bit of a hit, but I
'cause-
still think
yeah,
they'll
because
figure
you're
it out.
losing one of the best one-timers in the league in Stanley.
But if you're at 25, 26, that's pretty good still.
Yeah, I mean they have the best power play in the league at 28.6%. Now I think that takes a hit because I
I still
said this.
think they'll be top 10. I think
They'll
it's anywhere.
still be
I think
top
it's
10.
I'll still have them
24,
top 8.
25, 24,
Gensel's really
25%.
good.
Yeah, but Gensel and Point play similar roles in the power play, which they're usually in that bumper spot in front of the net with deflection and stuff. Maybe you move Point out to where Stamkos is.
I wanted to.
maybe-
But you gotta give credit to John Cooper here. He'll game plan for that and master that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm not like, it's going to be confusing.
Maybe
in
they
another
do-
situation, Cody. But with Tampa, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that.
But, yeah, I mean the decor. It's
I like.
it's
I think
old.
it's. I understand that, but I still
You
think
like
it's-
him more than Cody does.
I-
I like
yeah,
JP
'cause
Moser edition. We'll see.
I
what
think
he's
the
like.
Mosier additions helps them just to build a little bit more depth. They lose Sergachev, but they add McDonough, who was really good last year, who I still think has some hockey left in him.
That's
You're probably higher on McDonough.
And Mosier. I like the bottom pair of Perbix and Radish.
that is still the most confusing move for
But
me.
they've added some depth there, Cody, where the
There's
Purpose
depth.
is in there. I don't get at the top, obviously, with Sergachev. But in their middle to bottom pairing, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah,
No?
I mean, listen, I
was like,
think
no.
I think the defense is again slightly above average. The forwards, the depth overall.
It's
is not
better than
great.
ours probably, but
It's
I
probably
think
better
the
than
depth
ours.
of the Tampa Bay Lightning up front will get to them more
But
for the
here's-
defense.
but here's
Both
the-
might, Cody. Both
but
might.
here's the
But the
thing.
forwards might sink them.
Here's the
Okay.
thing.
They're gonna be in it, and Obviously, Vasilevsky, depending on how he never really got back in the true form. I thought he was good in the first round, right?
You
But
better
again,
get back quick because he's playing 70+ games for what we saw.
well, yeah, the backup, no backup
We're mentioning,
goaltender, no depth.
sorry, we're mentioning Vince a lot on this episode, but he thinks Hedman's cooked, but he's got full confidence in Vasi. That's an interesting take.
Yeah, but
Vasi
where do you
may
guys?
be overcooked quicker than Hedman is this year.
Where do you think points wise they end up?
92. I mean, 94 to 99.
I go
You
90.
have them in the playoffs. I'm still going to keep them in the wild card.
They're in their first wild card.
I might even have them wild card 2.
I'm with
Kucherov
Cody.
is still Kucherov.
I'm 93 to 98, 94, 99, same thing.
They got to be above 93 to get in.
I think they're in the mid to high 90s.
I think they're 94 to 99.
Yeah,
I'm with Cody kind of there. Yeah.
Yeah, 93, 98. I mean, again, we'll see.
But here's the thing.
Anything can happen. Gensel could get hurt. Kucherov could get hurt.
Yeah, if that happens, it's over.
But we're making these projections with everyone healthy. So, and you guys are trying to talk up the McDonough thing to me, and I understand it. I understand moving on from Stamkos and going to Gensel. That opens up your cup a little more, but you shut it right the hell down by trading Mikhail Sergachev.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I like
it down completely.
The overall thing for this year, and we're just talking about where they're going to be in the regular season and playoffs. I think it's fine because you add 2 quality defensemen for one. Overall, I wouldn't have made the move. I think unless they thought, because that was a move out of nowhere. Nobody saw that one coming. Maybe they thought with the injury to Sergachev that there was going to be some issues there.
They didn't give him a damn chance.
I know, unless they thought.
I thought he looked okay in the playoffs.
You're not going to know from the 2 games we saw him, right? So
you could throw the depth thing at me, and here's the thing: if he was a 2 or a 3, I would understand it. But he's damn near a 1.
Yeah, for the ones that don't believe in Hedman anymore, Cody.
Yeah.
Like, that was your backup
That's your contingency plan. Like Lundell is for Bennett. That's their contingency plan if the Hedman thing isn't going to work out.
Listen, we could go all day on it, and it just actually doesn't annoy me because I know it was a bad move, and Breeze was not a good GM. But hey, we'll move. Next up,
Toronto Maple Leafs.
We have the 3rd place team in the division, the Toronto Maple
Leafs. My second favorite Canadian team.
And before everyone gets on us here, this is a good regular season team. 46, 26, and 10, 102 points, 303 goals. Easily led the Atlantic there.
They are so good down the middle, but on the wings,
163 goals against. They were plus 40 in the regular season, guys. OEL.
Hey, hold on.
Panthers,
why is Nylander?
They're putting Nylander at center now.
Yes, Stephen.
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
Down the middle.
I remember 2 years ago they talked about
putting me up here. Hold on, Nick. Chris Tanev on the back end. Steven Lorentz for depth. They got a bunch of former Panthers here. Max Pacioretty on the PTO. I think he's going to make this line.
But look, as you can see,
yes, Nick. If you miss a lot this summer, you're going to not know what's going on in Leafland.
Well, I figured that out.
Listen, here's the thing: if you're on the video, you're looking at the lender just like we are. Down the middle, they're good. On the wings, woof. First line, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and Matthew Nyes, who's a guy that I'm beginning to like as a player. Second line, William Nylander, now tried at center for the second time. I thought they would have tried more. I would have tried Marner there before Nylander, but hey. Then you have Calle Yarncroke and Max Domi on his wings. And third line, oh boy, John Tavares, Bobby McMahon, and Nick Robertson. And on the fourth line, a guy who killed us in the playoffs a couple years ago, David Kampf down the middle, with Pontus Holmberg on the left, and everyone's favorite grinder, Ryan Reeves. On the back end, Morgan Riley and Chris Tanev, a much better first pair than they had last year. Second pair, the former now Stanley Cup champion OEL on the left with Jake McCabe, and then hard-hitting Simone Benoit on the left, and Timothy Liljegren on the right for the third pair, and the goalies, Joseph Wall, and now Stanley Cup champion, former Panther, Anthony Stolarz. But
Cody, you got the defense quickly there? Defense? I think it's going to be Benoit paired with McCabe. They did that last year. So you've got OEL maybe down on that bottom pairing, and you're going to have Tanev and Riley.
I don't know. I don't like OEL with Liljegren. I really don't.
I think they're going to eventually do that.
That's a I'll tee off
I
on.
remember Benoit McCabe was like a really good pairing for them last year.
That might have been one of
spot
those
for them.
parents if you talk to our fellow.
Also on the forward front,
member, right?
Max. I don't know if you mentioned Cody. Max Pacioretty's probably somewhere in that middle six.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not.
I don't know why he's
So-
not there. He's
I-
probably in for Nick Robertson on the third line.
Because Nick, I don't know.
No, they want to play Patches in the top 6.
All right, so put him in
Really?
Yarncroke's spot
So then you move Yarncroke in for Robertson,
because
but
handedness doesn't matter with wingers.
Who
again,
knows what the Leafs are going to do? You guys look at that lineup; it could be anything.
Look,
I think looks quality forward, like obviously star forwards up front, and throughout the lineup, like the middle 6 and bottom 6, it's not terrible, it's not phenomenal, but
they can get away with it because the amount
they
of
can get
talent
away
they
with
have.
it because of how much talent they have on the back end. Again,
I think you're a little
above
higher on the depth than Cody is, but like you just said, Nick, they can get away with it.
They can kind of get away with it.
You
Slightly
can
above
get away
average
with
defense.
depth. You can get away with lack of depth because of
I
talent.
think again, the defense is much better. The top end talent is still the same.
I just want to jump on the defense. I really like their short term for the year and a half. After that, some of those deals, no. But they did the right thing. We talked about Tampa not doing the right thing just earlier. Toronto's doing the right thing on the back end for the next 12 to 18 months, I feel.
So I think when you take a look, star forwards are still there. I don't really think the forward depth is very different than what it's been the last couple of years. It's been for
Which
them.
they're fine with.
Which they're fine with. I mean,
their young guys aren't quite ready yet.
Right. And the defense is probably the best it's been quite a little bit. So, I mean, definitely an improvement. Where it's not as much an improvement is maybe is the goaltender. I know a lot of people like Anthony Stolarz, and I've been seeing some quotes from TSN talking about this guy.
This guy's big.
I don't understand it. I mean, again, we picked them up for 1 year, but again,
they don't watch film as much. And then some fans are going to push back at us. Kirby, you don't look at stats. Yeah, I look at stats, but the film shows some holes.
I mean, yes. And again, like you could even tell, even though he's making 28 out of 29 stops, you could tell he doesn't look that good doing it, right? Like
from game to game,
one game to game,
solid. The next game, he's swimming in the net.
So again, it's like I never looked at Anthony Stolarz throughout the years like this unbelievable. Like when they say he leads the league in save percentage, I'm like, give me a break, right? Like that's not what he's played 28 games.
Give some credit to your guy, Paul.
That's what happens when you play the Montreal Canadiens.
But again,
New York Islanders.
I think
he got shellacked by the Islanders twice.
I think he might struggle to play 40 games a year. I really think Joseph Woll is capable, if he stays healthy, of playing the majority.
That's a big caveat there.
That's right.
But I think he's capable because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Last week, I'm going to say if Toronto had won that game 7 against Boston, I was really getting concerned about Joseph Woll against us. Like riding in there, like
looking back on it, that's a wild take because of the goalies we went through for this run.
But at the time, I was worried.
I was not.
Joseph Woll. What did he got hurt for game 7, but
I was terrified of Swayman. Like I was.
Well, I was terrified of Swayman, but again, doesn't matter.
The league coming in here now.
But I really think that I'm like really high on Joseph Woll. Like what he did 2 years ago, coming in for Samsonov in the year we beat them in 5. Really impressed me. And then again, he was really good for them prior to his injury last year. Then he got hurt. But wasn't really there, and then came in like again. I think
Joseph Woll has jumped ahead of development curve of our own Spencer Knight.
I mean, I'm really high on Joseph Woll.
He's taken fast track stuff.
All right, and Kirby, I'm gonna remind you of this. He hasn't hit the goalie wall yet. It's coming. It's happened to every young goalie. It's happened to Anders. Happened to Knight. It's happened to Levi last year. It's gonna happen to Wall, and I think this is the year.
Well, then again,
it's gonna hit a wall.
They believe in Stolarz more than I do.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they better pray because he's the guy you hold your breath in when he's in net. He did great, but you held your breath every time he was in net.
Some of you more than me. I wasn't to that level, but there were certain nights where I'm like, he don't got it. I can tell with goalies early in the night. I'm like, tonight is not there.
Oh no,
nights everyone
like you could tell. Like there's just like you were saying, like that Chicago game, that Islander game. Like you could just
when he gets lit up. He gets lit up.
Yeah, it's like when he's off, he's off.
Media? How's he going to handle the media? Not even when Samsonov didn't do a great job with the media.
Well, that was it. Yeah. So,
but
where are we thinking here? Where are we thinking?
97 to 105.
That's a big range there.
Yeah,
Yes.
I knew Kirby was going to say that. I'll go 99 to 100, 105. I know it's just 2 points.
This is hard. They were 102 last year.
Again, I
Maybe
think
right at 99, 100.
no, I think they're 99 to 105. I think they can easily get 103, 105.
I'm
Because
leaving a small gap here.
Because Matthew could have another heart year and they could be at like close to 105.
Mitch Marner, we didn't mention. My favorite, Mitch Marner.
It's
Contract.
the regular season we're talking about, so he can
Contract
put
year.
up points.
Maybe that's how USA has a chance to win the gold with Marner on the
That's a
ice.
separate conversation.
That will be. We're going to cover the formation.
But next up, the second place team in the division. We have the Boston Bruins.
47, 20, and 15, 109 points. Just fell 1 point short of the division crown. 267.
They didn't want it anyway.
One less goal than the Panthers last year. 224 goals allowed for a plus 43. The additions, my guy, Big Z, Nikita Zadorov, Elias Lindholm, down the middle of the ice, Bussy and net, Korpisalo via that Ullmark trade. Cody?
First line, we have the newly acquired Elias Lindholm, Pavel Zacha, David Pastrnak. Second line, Charlie Coyle, Brad Marchand, Morgan Geekie. Third line, Matt Poitras, Trent Frederick, Justin Brazeau. Fourth line, John Beecher, Max Jones, and Mark Kastelik. First pair, Kirby's new guy, Big Z, Nikita Zadorov with Charlie McAvoy. The second pairing being Hampus Lindholm and Brandon Carlo. Then the third pair being Mason Lowry and Andrew Peak. And the goalies, as of right now, is Eunice Korpisalo and Brandon Bussy. And
we'll see what happens with Swayman, but
I mean, I gotta read this quote from earlier today from Mr. Cam Neely, who is a really big who's a part of the Bruins front office. And this has become a drama show now. As he said in his press conference today, as of this recording, he said, and I quote, "I have 64 million reasons why I'd play right now," end quote, when talking about Jeremy Swayman. And later on in the day, Jeremy Swayman's agent sent out the statement, and I quote, "Normally, I do not release statements nor discuss negotiations through the media. However, in this case, I feel the need to defend my client at today's press conference. $64 million was referenced. This was the first time that this number was discussed in our negotiations prior to the press conference. No offer was made reaching that level. We are extremely disappointed. This was not fair to Jeremy. We will take a few days to discuss where we go from here," end quote.
And it's already been decided that Korpisalo will be starting opening night against
yes,
Florida Panthers. So
Kirby drafted Swayman to fantasy, so
yep,
clap it up for Curbs.
You can pick up your guy Korpisalo. You can pick up your guy Korpisalo.
It's drama. It's not good optics, but I'm not worried.
No, I wasn't worried until this comment. I'm going to be honest with you. I think
What? Who do you think has leverage? He's not going anywhere.
It's Swayman who has all the damn leverage.
I mean, to be fair,
everyone says he's one of the great young goalies, so they're like, he's not evaluating himself.
No, he's not. I mean, if it's $64 million and he's asking for more, he's crazy.
But we know in hockey, those numbers we think as fans are so
far
apart. They come together.
Believe his agent. I don't think. I mean, unless
at worst
if it's 60.
I heard today at worst they do a bridge.
Well, I think
they can't do a bridge. They can't do one now, because if they do a bridge, his status is going to be UFA. So it makes zero sense for them.
And this is back-to-back years they've had issues with this.
Remember, they took him to arbitration last year.
Yeah,
and so for those, because the whole
and for those who don't know what arbitration is, it's basically where you and the team go to this one guy and they say, "Hey," and your own team tells the arbitrator, says, "Hey, this guy's not worth this amount of money because this, and this."
And I think his agent said at one point, like, it was very tough for him. Like,
yeah,
like they said some like pretty, like big things about Swayman, like about his game. So I remember his agent commenting on that.
And it's funny, they improved the team immensely. Lindholm's a huge get. Zadorov's another one big on the back end. Really,
I think the forward core is really solid. I think it's a ton better.
Kirby on Zadorov. What's going on here?
Yeah, not for $6 million.
Charlie McAvoy on the
$5 million.
But I'm not paying them that.
Playing with Eric Goodbranson on a bottom pairing. They're putting Nikita Zadorov for the top pairing. So if you pay him that money, Cody, if he works there, Hell, if he looked good with Gustav Forsling, I'd pay him that money if the plan was to play him on the first pairing. Let's see if he can do it.
But you're biased though. But
I think the forward
I'm
core,
biased, but the team in the National Hockey
the center
League play him
depth,
on the first
the
pairing.
center depth with Elias Lindholm and a healthy Patra really helps them out. Morgan Geekie had a really nice year last year for them as well. And Brazo came on for them at the end of last year. I think the top 9 is a ton better than it was last year. They got their number 1 center.
The Bruins prospects.
Yeah, they got their number 1 center. They got their Zaka moved to wing. Charlie Coyle had a nice year.
You got to put air quotes on that. It's their number 1 center.
Yeah,
it's
but
their
again,
number
top
1.
9 forwards undoubtedly better than it was last year. The defense is really good.
Probably one of the best in the NHL.
One of the best in the NHL. And if Swayman's there, Swayman and Korpisalo, I know it's not Omar, but that's still a pretty damn good.
There's one thing
I would love to have a guy in our system like they do with Mason Lowry. You guys can say it's Michael Benning or whatever, but we're seeing it from Lowry in the playoffs.
If Michael Benning had the size that Mason Lowry had, he'd probably be in the NHL already.
He's got that long stick.
Now, the one thing I will say, I think they're going to be a really good team. The forwards are much better. Defense, one of the best in the NHL. Swayman with Korpisalo works out really well. I do think Brad Marchand, we saw him lose a little bit last year, a little bit of step last year. I think that trend continues. And I
sound like a broken drum, but he's going to be looking at the Four Nations and playing with Crosby on a checking line. So he ain't going to just.
So, yeah, I mean, again, we'll see what happens there. But
I want to pick first, but with the Swayman thing, oh, man.
It's so tough because.
You want me to pick my point? I think they're anywhere from kind of similar to Toronto, 99 to 105. I think they're right there.
I'm going to do one with Swayman and one without Swayman.
Without Swayman's a little different.
I'm just going 103. I think Swayman returns quicker than most people do. 103, second in the division. This Swayman situation might knock them out of me putting them first as of this recording.
If they had Swayman signed already, I think all 3 of us would pick him to win the division.
Yeah, I think we could be there.
I would have them up at like 107, 108. Really. I think they're that good.
Without Swayman,
they could be like 97, 98.
92 to 98.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I still think they're a playoff team with Korpisalo. I
got to see with Korpisalo. He really cost me last year.
But if there's one thing that Boston can fix, it's goaltenders. Because Ullmark was nowhere near a Vezina guy when he got to Boston. He became that in Boston. And now he's going to Ottawa. And I think he'll be fine over there. I hope. But actually, no, I don't hope. No, screw Ottawa.
Finally.
But this is a hot take here. If they don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals with this core, I think Montgomery's on the hot seat going into next year. Or he's already on it for me. He's getting close because that choke from those couple years ago is still deep in their heads.
But there's a chance we meet them again in the playoffs. They're just not.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the perennial.
They're going to have to
beat us.
Blame
the GMs and the head coaches on the hot
I kind of like being on this side of it.
Opening to some of our post-game segments. I'm like, I didn't know Cody was going here this evening. But
it's just realistic here. I mean, look at the team. Look at the team we just named out, and plus they're probably going to add at the deadline.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like top 6 forward.
Boston's not like Toronto where they let the media and let all the noise get to them. Like, oh, this guy's on the hot seat. This guy. Oh, look at the Swayman thing. This is the organization or one of the organizations that can handle this drama.
This is the same organization that fired a coach because they said the GM sucked at their job. Like,
then that said coach beat us in the Stanley Cup final, but
No, it's the other one before him.
Oh, I was thinking Cassidy.
Julian did
it. Julian did it. Didn't he go to Montreal after that?
Yeah, and he made he got fired before they made the cup.
No, he got fired before the cup there.
But it doesn't stick to Boston. They're still able to bring coaches in.
Yeah,
and here's the thing. I thought last year they were done for. I really thought they were really bad last year, I thought. And again, they just always, find a way to
look. Boston's a team.
I was low on them last year.
I was like, I had them below. I think Ottawa and Buffalo.
I had them with Pittsburgh.
I mean,
I think Boston's a team that, as long as they have certain guys, they should never be counted out. But this whole Swayman ordeal has become a gong show, and it's it's funny to watch because it's in the division and it's probably they're one of their top three players on the team, if we're being real here. But anyway, we shall move on to the reigning Stanley Cup champions and the first team in the division, Florida Panthers. Yes, the reigning, defending Eastern Conference champions, Atlantic Division champions, and Stanley Cup champions.
A lot of banners for 6.
Damn, is that good? Oh man, that's 3 banners right there.
We're gonna have more banners than fans soon. The
I
Florida
think-
Panthers.
I think
the
we're-
fans are catching up though.
I think we're at 6 banners now, right? We got the 2 Eastern conferences.
Bring the 96 Leaping Panther back and put it prominent in the building.
No, don't put them prominent.
Yes, it is, Cody. Don't besmirch that banner.
I'm not
Everyone in the
besmirching it.
chat,
It's
tell
just the other.
Cody in the chat that's a bad take by him, just like his jersey takes with Lex. Thank you. I appreciate you community members already in those
Anaheim
comments.
got the wrong color.
No, Kirby W on that episode. Huge W, Nick.
Hey, listen.
Yep.
At least in the 23 and 24 Stanley Cup Finals, we won games.
We did do that. We won
But-
52 games last year, Cody. 52, 24, and 6, 110 points. Ousted Boston from that top position there at the end of the regular season. 268 goals for, one more than Boston, but quite a bit short of Toronto there. 200 goals against, best in the division, right up there with Carolina and the Rangers, plus 68 in the regular season. Cody, you can go over all the additions with the lineup here because there was a few, especially in the depth department.
Yep. We see a lot of changes in the bottom 6 with a lot of our old friends departing us. I normally don't have to show you this, but we're going to show it to you anyway, just for consistency.
You don't have to talk everyone through it if you don't want.
Right, but first line, Verhaeghe, Barkov, Reinhart. Second line, Bennett, Rodriguez, Kachuk. Third line, Lundell, Luosterainen, and a hopeful healthy Mackie Samoskevich joining the lineup with us pretty soon. And the fourth line, all new additions. The guy that we signed for our fourth line spot, Thomas Nosek, is out with injury. I don't see he'll probably be back within about a week into the season, I would say. But in his place is probably the favorite rookie to make it out of camp in Patrick Giles. On his left, he has newcomer AJ Greer from the Calgary Flames. This is the Ryan Lomberg replacement. Could fight a little bit, has a little speed to him, a little skill to him. And on the right side, a guy who is probably having the best preseason in Mr. Jesper Boquist, who is slated to be on the third line for right now with Samoskevich out, as Paul Maurice has said in the past. The D pairs goes as follows. The cup-winning first pair will stay the same with Aaron Ekblad and Gustav Forsling. The second pair is Nico Mikkola with Dmitry Kulikov. The third pair, Nate Schmidt and Adam Boquist. The goalies, Officer Bob on the case, and the returning Spencer Knight from his year-long stint in the AHL after his player assistance program stint, looking to regain the form he had prior to going into the program.
Start, I guess, at the forward court. Cody, I just want to mention, Jesper Boquist, not only has he done enough in training camp, but with the Mackie Samoskevich injury, I think he takes that third line spot. So you kind of have your top 9 established there with all returning Panthers outside of him. The fourth line, AJ Greer, you mentioned the replacement for Lomberg. And for people that don't know this by now, AJ Greer is a big, massive guy. He's a lot bigger than Lomberg, and he skates very well for a big guy, just like Giles does there. Cody, interesting that you said you think Nosek's only going to be out for a week. I'd even bump it to 2 to 3 weeks. That's going to be interesting to see.
It depends. If Giles plays well, you don't rush him back. You just let him be 100%.
And I think that's a weak spot for us this year.
Yeah, but if we have to acquire a 4C at the deadline, I'm not upset.
Yeah, I mean,
I know you're going to say it's Nick. I don't think we can acquire one like we had last year.
No, I don't think. Again, I would have rather just kept not Stenlin, because we couldn't afford him. Lorenz. I mean, but I mean, I don't hate Nosek. I mean, again, I think he could be good. He's just injured again. I mean, so
Why couldn't we afford Stanley? We get into that. We didn't even mention his
$2
name.
million? We weren't affording
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't even think Gadjevich is playing as well, not even close to as well as Boquist, Giles.
No, I
other
don't
guys.
agree with that. I would have rather kept Lorentz or Cousins over Gadjevic, or just put him in the AHL. And,
Yeah, I think
that's
there.
that actually might where he'll end up. Luckily, we could bury his salary. He's only making $8,000.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see what happens.
That's the thing I think the management disagrees with us on, and we'll see.
I agree with what you said about Boquist. I like the idea of
you gotta figure out which one, dude. We got two of them.
Jesper. It's gonna take some time to get used to this, so
we got two of them, dog. We gotta differentiate here.
Let's not jump around to D and goalies because
I know. I like that idea of that third line of Lundell, Osterrein, and Boquist. I think that's a really nice fit. Kind of what you said there. I'm not really sure on Mackie, same as Skevich, what the deal is there. But like you said, Jesper Boquist.
But based off what Maurice has said about him, I'm assuming they're looking at him as an NHL regular now.
Yeah, I would think that.
They're talking about him, and the way Maurice has said that's his spot.
What, Cody? Hold on a second. Not Sandis Volmanis?
Please don't bring him up.
Oh. How about Hunter St. Martin for?
Who's been better?
That's a legit.
That's a legit. Vince is not going to like that, but we'll be all right.
But hey, we need to start hitting on some of these mid-round picks. I would like some of them. The last mid-round pick for us to hit was what? Trocheck?
Uyghur, maybe? I mean, that's a late-round pick. So
they're the same draft.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Okay. But yeah,
Cody, what are we expecting from your boy Lusto in the regular? Put a number out there so we can.
Number one penalty kill minutes.
I want points. I want a number of points.
Points?
I want points with that.
35.
All right, let's go, Kirby. $3 million for 35 points.
Please don't bring him up to the second line. I start to get mild heart palpitations when we do that.
He's good.
You mean he's not a 55-point guy, Kirby? But he did that.
I'll use Cody's line. Things are going really bad in our regular season if we got E2 up there on that second line.
Yeah.
What's going on?
He's either playing really good or a lot of people are
I'd
very
like to
hurt.
move someone else from that third line up.
I think all three of us do. We maybe 15 for 9, but then again, 9 will become useless if we switch.
Yeah, that's
can't do it.
It's either he's with Tkachuk. He cannot
he's either
go
with
anywhere
Tkachuk
else.
or scratched.
Fans are not. It's not us guys. There's certain fans.
He's the least versatile player
in the lineup. You're not splitting them up.
For those of you who are just mad right now, let me take you back to this year's playoffs when Bennett was hurt. Bennett was hurt in the Tampa series with the Montour slap shot to the hand. Very unfortunate. And Lundell came into his spot and fulfilled it phenomenally. So phenomenal, in fact, when Bennett came back, they stuck with Lundell on the second line. And the reason why they switched back wasn't because Lundell was underperforming. No. It was because the third line was so damn bad. It could be due to lack of reps with one another. It could definitely be lack of chemistry.
His hand was still hurt, potentially.
Yeah, he wasn't taking face-offs, but he had that.
But here's the thing, Anton Lundell needs...
We won a 3-on-3 overtime game last year with my boy Money Monter on the ice with Matthew Tkachuk and Anton Lundell. Matthew Tkachuk won an overtime game on the ice, 3-on-3. He was with Anton Lundell.
I'm not going to lie. Tkachuk is an amazing player, but once he gets a 3-on-3 in the shootout, oh boy.
But would you bet on Bennett and Tkachuk in those situations? There's things where
I'd bet on Bennett. I wouldn't bet on Tkachuk.
I think Bennett and Tkachuk were on the ice when we lost the Ducks 3-on-3 overtime game.
But that was
There's things that Tkachuk can't do with Bennett.
But that was a Stolar's disaster class.
But the thing with, if I could just talk about Lundell real quick, he's got to start quick. He's got to, he's got to be better in the regular season. There's no doubt about that.
Put him with better players.
Well, yeah,
what do you expect him on the third line?
I mean, so
I don't think he could just shepherd Mackie Samoskevich to have the years that they had with Reinhardt and Marchment. I think a lot of that was with Reinhardt.
Look, like I said,
I do agree with that.
Like I said,
I don't think, Cody, that third line is as good as the fans.
I'm still a proponent of this.
Reinhardt on line 3?
No, that's long gone. No, he scored 57 on the first line last year. Why the hell would I move back down to the third line?
How many power play goals did he have?
27?
Jeez.
Oh, so check that's still 30?
I don't know where Nick was going with the third line. I don't know where Cody's.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I've said this in past podcasts, and I'm still going to say it. let Samoskevich play with Barkov and Reinhardt and put Rodriguez down on line 3. You will never make a better, easier time for Samoskevich than putting him with the 2 smartest guys on the team, aka 2 Selke candidates.
Well, the Panthers media is pumping up Erod with that Bennett and Kachuk line right now. So they're going
wow.
because of the playoffs.
This is the regular season, man.
Yeah, I think you keep moving Erod around.
You move him like Erod's like, here's the thing. You move him around wherever he's hot. When the line starts falling out, okay, switch it up.
Yep.
Like, just keep it moving. And I felt like with Samoskevich, you put him on the first line. He's going to get shot attempts because all the traffic's going to be with Reinhardt and Barkov. Because, Barkov's Barkov, and Reinhardt's a 50-goal scorer now.
Yep.
I mean, and just, it's the reputation, it's everything now. But now, enough with the forward core. Let's go with the hot topic of our team, the defense. Ekblad, Forsling. There's nothing more to say. That's a damn good pairing. They were horrible the year before, but they were better. They were immensely better last year. A lot more chemistry, learn how to feed off of each other. But the one X factor for the Panthers this year is Adam Boqvist. As of right now, he's getting first power play reps. The first power play is Boqvist, Verhaeghe, Reinhardt, Barkov, Kachuk. That's extremely important because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Cody, who said in the summer the power play? Is that what we're saying? Power play 1?
Yeah, that's
fine.
We knew 4 locks. I thought it was either going to be Boqvist or Schmidt. It was going to be one of those two. Because Ekblad's not that great at quarterbacking. He's better as a trigger man.
And I think the fans, maybe not you as much, but the fans, if you include Ekblad in that equation with Forsling, they're pretty shocked that these are the units, but I'm not.
And
no, I mean wasn't that what they were last year too? Like, except Ekman Larson was in.
No, I'm not saying Cody said this, but don't put Ekblad as the quarterback power play, but play him on the flanker. And then a lot of our fans are like, play Forsling as the QB.
Absolutely not.
No.
That's not the first or second options here.
Listen, Forsling has been amazing the last year. We cannot understate that. But I don't want to drag him to 27, 28 minutes by being the power play quarterback. Like, that is a job.
We're a really good team, Cody, and we're going to get 4 or 5 power plays.
Yeah, and that's a job maybe 4, 5 guys in the NHL could do
on a top team.
It's not an easy thing, and it's just Forsling's never been on the power play in Florida. Maybe he had a couple PP2 stints with Brunette, and maybe last year when we had no defensive depth.
And I just want to jump in here. His time in Chicago, the Carolina, Vancouver, how much ever games he played in all those spots. Sorry, I don't have that in front of me, everyone. Adam Boqvist played with Duncan Keith, Conn Smythe winner, Hall of Fame defenseman, and played in power play in other situations at a very young age. Forsling hasn't even done that at the age of 27, 28.
I wanted to talk about Boqvist for the power play. I was watching I believe it was the Carolina game. It just looks like a guy who's comfortable.
Which one?
The one where we won in overtime. Yes, where Boqvist scored in overtime.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were talking about the other one.
On the power play, like, you just see some of the things. Like, he moves a lot better. He opens up his hips a lot better. Just the guy who's more comfortable with the puck. I was talking with Kirby about this the other day. I'm like, it just seems
you might have said yes for Adam. We're talking, yeah.
Adam, we're talking. And I just said, he just seems so much more natural as the power play quarterback. It just seems something he's comfortable with. And that's what he was drafted. I think he was drafted 7th overall by Chicago.
Something like that. It was a top
something
10
like
pick.
that. And highly touted, very skilled offensive defenseman.
Was traded in the Seth Jones trade. He was the primary prospect in that deal.
So this is obviously a guy with a high pedigree, a lot of talent. And you could see some of those tools, those offensive skill set on the power play working with it. Like, we had Brandon Montour last year, Gustav Forsling. And I know Ekman Larson was also here last year, but I just think, this is probably the most natural of a power play quarterback based off comfortability that I've seen from
Yeah, and
anybody
we're
we've
just
had.
seeing preseason, but we're also talking about regular season. I want to add to that Boquist front there. There's things that he does before he gets the puck on the man advantage that Forsling and Ekblad can't do. There's things that he does when he gets the puck that Brandon Montour could do. But when he gets by a guy like Brandon Montour could do, this is something that Brandon Montour could not do. Put a very dangerous shot on net and look to score. Not just create a scoring opportunity, but look to score. So there's things that he can do before the puck that Forsling and Ekblad can't do. And there's things that he can do when he beats his man with the puck that Brandon Montour couldn't do.
And the thing with Boquist, and we saw it tonight in the preseason game when Reinhart scored the power play goal. Tonight, as of this recording, Panthers played their preseason game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, losing 3-1. On the power play, there was actual movement. Something I've been dying for. Guys moving around. Tkachuk was at the blue line shooting that puck. And it was something I've been dying for. Reinhart tips in it. And guess what? Boquist moving around, feeds Tkachuk back, and it finds Reinhart back of the net. Boquist is a lot more, I don't want to say a lot more, I think Boquist has a lot better offensive instincts on the power play than Montour has, in my opinion. It's just the instincts. Like, Gustav Forsling has A1 defensive instincts, a great stick and everything. And he has a bomb of a one-timer. It's just the offensive instincts.
I just feel like when he gets the puck on the power play, like he panics with it. Like he just throws a puck on net when maybe an Adam Boquist or another defense.
Well, I just had Forsling and Ekblad just to jump in. I don't think they're available for the pass like Boquist did.
Well, exactly, but like Forsling would get the puck at the blue line. I can see him just throwing it on net, looking for a deflection. I think Boquist could open up his hips, create some space and time.
He does the Brandon Montour thing. He tries to beat his man and does.
Exactly. I don't think Forsling has that creativity with the puck. I think he's a talented player, but
it's just simple.
It's simple with him. He doesn't have that deceptiveness, the creativity to
outside that
play
one,
at the blue line like
outside that one pass to Evan Rodriguez,
which was
last year. Like,
and I give Adam Boquist AA+ for what Cody was saying, power play instincts. I really think he's strong there. The part is we're gonna have to live with some of the defensive deficiencies. Fans that think Montour or Mark Stahl or this guy or that guy wasn't good in their own end. I've seen some stuff in preseason where it's led to prime A scoring chances, or it's been in the back.
But that's something we can develop with him because he's still a very young player.
And it depends also who you put him with. I know he's on that daily face-off.
And let's be real here. Like, and for those of you who are looking at his pass, like, oh, his pass numbers weren't so good. This is by far, and I mean nowhere close, by far, the best team he's going to play for. He played for Chicago at the start of the rebuild when Taves was done. And, like, they just had brought in DeBrincat. That's when Hagel first popped out. Like, in the COVID year, like, where it was the Central Division, the Discover Central Division, with us, Carolina, Dallas, Nashville that year. Then he gets traded to Columbus the following year. And Columbus has been the unluckiest franchise in the past 5 years. It's just nonstop. It's this whole offseason, it's just been shattered with the passing of Johnny Gaudreau, which is still very heartbreaking. Once again, condolences to his family. And he just never found footing because he went through 2 coaches over there. Well, technically 3. I mean, Brad Larson, who everyone said sucked. 6 weeks of Mike Babcock. I don't know if he saw the photos in his phone or not, but hey. And then Pascal Vincent, who was way over his head, who pissed off their top prospect in David Jiricek. And this is a year where he's going to get real development and with a real team, with real coaching, with real players. Like, Boquist has never had the luxury of an Alexander Barkov maybe covering for him or whatever, per se. He's never had that, or a luxury of having a power play where he has all 4 guys who could be a danger anywhere they're on the ice. So he's the Panthers' X factor. In the range of points for the Panthers is 99 to it's probably around 100, 108.
I don't know.
I'm a little lower than 108. I think there's a chance we see our best hockey come playoff time. I'm around.
What wins the division? Yeah.
I think like 103, 104, 105. I don't have us winning the division.
So you don't have them winning the division.
I don't have us winning the division.
Who do you have?
I have. Well, it was Boston. Now this might open it up, right?
That's Toronto.
No,
But who?
I don't. I have us at around 99 to 103.
But
So
who has us winning the division then? That's not going to win the division.
I have us winning.
You have us. I have
too,
Boston.
It's now I have us winning because of the Swayman thing.
Well, before I had Swayman, I don't.
Oh,
I think we're gonna have.
that.
What's your total for the top and the team that you have?
Boston at 107.
So that's where
108. 108.
So Cody, I have Florida around 106 maybe for the division now.
Yeah, that's why my range is 100 to 108.
But again, I made that prediction with Jeremy Swayman.
But we're not winning the division at 100, Cody.
I know, but that we're third in the division with 100, which is our floor.
So you think I don't that close with 100 to 100.
I think it's really close because the whole Swayman thing now. Because
Toronto, I'm not discounting Toronto this year. I had them last year.
Because Toronto.
I'm going to be honest with you. I worry about our defense. Like I think that's going to cost us.
It's going to cost us.
It's going to cost us some points. I don't think we can win a division. I think we can win a division. I don't think we will.
You guys are talking about the Swayman thing. I think it gets settled. When it gets settled, they have less question marks than we do and the Leafs do for the regular season.
Listen, the whole Swayman thing depends on how Korpisalo starts.
Yeah.
If he starts good, I don't think they're in a rush. But if he's like borderline like 900 save percentage, 895, they're giving everything he wants.
Yeah, I have like Bruins. I have them like 107, 108, 109.
So you're keeping the Bruins there. I want to. I really do.
And again, like you said, obviously that could change with the Swayman thing. I'm of the opinion of I think Korpisalo is going to do fine behind that defense, behind that system. Because I don't think he's as bad as Cody's saying. I also think that the situation with Swayman will get resolved.
He's bad for a reason.
Nick's already jumping to my conclusion on this. So just get back to the Panthers. Their ceiling, all three of us are saying, is first. What's their floor, though?
Third.
Yeah, I got third. It could be a little worse than that.
But I'm going to be honest. I really don't think we're winning the division. Like last year, I said, like I was telling you, I think conference, like Stanley Cup, like I really thought we could go back.
Like if everything goes well with Tampa, Boston, that we mostly
like I'm thinking 99 to 103. Is there a possibility? Could I see us if we win the division at the end of the day? Sure, but I don't think that's probably going to happen. I think the defense is going to be
That's a big question. And we didn't get into the goalies, guys. I wanted to talk about that
because
draft here. I don't think Bob is having a Vez in the year again. And people, I think Spencer Knight is going to jump in. And Cody, I know you're high on him, but if you just think he's going to jump in with a 912 save percentage or 909,
I think he's going to be around 905. I think he's going to.
That's good enough.
I think he's going to start rough, and I think he'll be better later on in the year.
That's Bob down years, right?
Bob's down years is dead on 900.
Yeah, he's but again,
I would have Knight around 903, 905 if things aren't.
It's going to be interesting to see because I think you're going to start to see Sergei Bobrovsky's age show like second half of the year. Like I think beginning of this year, okay, he's going to be good, right? Then you start to see some deterioration.
And does that mean we go to Drieger that we have?
Right. And again, players that we know this from buyouts and players from past years that players at the beginning of seasons, they are not the same as they are at the end of the season. Players in November or October, November, December, are not the players they are in February, March, April, right? Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. I think, you're going to see Bobrovsky. What is he, 36 now? He's going to be 36.
Let's talk about this quickly. Leon Draisaitl, being German descent, Bobrovsky being from Russia. These are two superstar guys. They're going to have that break in February. So is that going to be a point to?
Well, I didn't even think of that. That's a good point. So that very well might
Bob's
help
a
him.
goalie that doesn't do well with a lot of rest. Like when he's off for like long periods of time, that's usually his worst start.
But I think they're going to manage him just like they did in the Stanley Cup final.
I think they'll probably do something similar to what they did the first year, when Maurice was here. Because before Knight went into the program, they were playing whoever was hot. Because remember, Bob had that god-awful November, which terrifies me with that purple mask. but he bounced back last year. But 2023 November or 2022 November, oh my lord, he was bad.
I don't really think there's a set rotation. I think it's whoever has
whoever's
the hot
hot.
hand. I don't really think I know Maurice's first year they played Bob the first game and then Knight the second game against Buffalo, and they kind of did this, and then they went like 2 for Bob, 1 for Knight, until for a while. I don't think that's going to necessarily be the case. If Bob's good from the get-go, Bob's getting those starts. If Knight is playing well.
I still think they're going to manage Bob though off of these 2 long playoff runs.
Well, they'd be smart to.
I think Bob gets 45 to 50
I also think
games.
is the coaching staff does Maurice trust Knight? Like there can't be if he's on the team, there can't be any reservation. Like, oh, I don't know.
I'm still iffy on this.
They can't. If he's on the team, I'm of the opinion. If he's on the team, the coaching staff's got to trust him, and they got to put him in. They can't.
They'll trust him way more than they do Stolars. Like he'll get a lot more harder starts.
Yeah, and I wonder how
to be critical on his play, just like they are with Bob.
It's going to be interesting to see. There's some questions about certain players or certain roles, certain things that really I'm intrigued to say the least. Nothing major, but.
But I mean, I think Bob plays 45 to 50 games at the most.
You're very low on that total, yeah.
And then Knight gets
that's pretty low.
Yeah, I'm not that low.
I'm like at around 53 to 55 is like the
I think Knight gets
mark.
30 games, but
I think he does too. I think he gets more than Stolars last year.
How much did Bob starts have last year?
58, 56.
I'm around 51, 52.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but 45, 50. I'm saying 45.
Because you got the long break in February. You got the break from Finland. There is back-to-backs. That's where Knight has to come in.
And that's what I'm saying. Like we have a lot of back-to-backs for some reason.
Yeah, early on.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying 45, 50, because if Knight gets hot, I see Maurice sticking with him. Because he did it with Alex
You're
Lang.
Confident in that. I'm not. I'm about
that Knight gets hot?
40, 45%.
Knight will have a stretch where he gets hot.
I think he will. And I'm going to be honest, if we're going to go on another deep run this year, it's going to be Spencer Knight in the net. I think it's not going to be Sergei Bobrovsky. If there is a slight chance that's
how were you high on Younes Corpusalo last year?
Yeah,
never mind. Your goalie takes are just all over.
Yeah,
I look at the goalie position very closely.
But again,
and you got Younes Corpusalo last year. You didn't look at that close.
Full lineup in the Tampa Bay exhibition game as the time of this recording, and bad rebound out in front.
Kirby, we've been talking about this Spencer Knight for the last year and a half. He hasn't played, so
his glove's not good right now.
Right.
I see things in his game.
Glove could get better.
No.
Bob's glove hand sucks.
And again, we praise Knight when he has these great performances with AHL competition.
Let me refrain by that. Let me rephrase that statement. When Bob gets beat, it's usually glove. Last year it was.
When he lets it go by, Cody. When he lets it go by and he doesn't.
It tries to be up a wall with this new goalie thing where they just go down early and it just beats him high.
How about the one where he doesn't even move? He just looks, watches it go right by.
No, he does. No, he does this thing. He does this thing where he chicken wings it, and I'm just like.
But Knight, when he's putting his glove out, he's getting beat when he's in his stance with the glove. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Look, that can get better with games.
Again, we'll see. I mean,
use your athleticism. Stop being.
We'll see. I think the goalies are going to be left out a little bit more to dry this year than they were last year. So
and
it's
the goalies can't just bail out the defense like last year.
And I'm going to be honest. Last year at the beginning of the year, we were doing a really nice job with the limited defense with Montour and Ekblad being hurt. Well, that's not the case this year. This is our defense. So. And
we somehow survived.
Talk about defense. Talk about an injury to certain someone or at all. Really, we're going to be really. Well, it's going to be really difficult.
We got lucky with the health after November last year.
Yeah, so we'll see.
All right,
I mean, it just. Yeah.
We're still pretty high, but again, it matters come playoff time. But you got to talk about these regular season projections.
I mean, it's kind of comparing it to the team that just won the Stanley Cup. So
I mean, we are the team that just won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
You're wearing the damn shirt.
Yeah.
But Atlantic standings without Swayman, Florida 1, Boston 2, Toronto 3, Tampa 4, Buffalo 5, Ottawa 6, Detroit 7, Montreal 8, and with Swayman, flip Boston and Florida.
Okay, I got it's so hard right now with the Swayman thing because I have Boston originally. So again, if he signs here very soon, I can switch Florida with Boston. We'll go Florida 1, Boston very close at 2. Toronto's a hard one for me, 3. I'm pretty confident with Tampa at 4, kind of that wild card. They will get in. Some people think they won't. 5, going to Ottawa again, but not as high as I was last year. 6, Buffalo. I really want to put Detroit lower, but I can't. 7, Detroit, 8, Montreal. Nick?
So I'm going to go with Swayman, Boston 1, Toronto 2, Florida 3, Tampa Bay 4. I have Buffalo at 5. I have Ottawa at 6, Detroit at 7, and Montreal at 8.
We're not that far off.
Yeah, and then I'm going to be honest, if Swayman is an issue, switch Toronto and Boston and potentially push Boston down to 3. But I mean, I don't think it's going to be that big.
I should go with Nick with Boston with 1. I'm going to regret it if I'm on the right.
But I think they got a really good team. Like if they were able to do that last year with that forward core and the defense and that I just,
And in terms of the entire East, for me, it's going to be 4-4 again. Boston, Toronto, Florida, Tampa, New Jersey. This is no particular order. New Jersey, Carolina, the Rangers, and I'm throwing Washington in.
I agree with Washington. I think Washington makes it.
I'm almost buying into the Washington hype with Cody.
Yeah.
Oh God, can we stop with the New Jersey love that's going on again?
It's regular season.
Regular
season.
It's the analytics department driving this narrative to fans that fall into it.
They got
Does New Jersey miss the playoffs?
I hate it.
They got
New
better
Jersey
off
missed
the
the
back
playoffs,
end,
Kirby?
man.
And your Dougie Hamilton better be top 50,
Hold on.
Mr. Dougie.
Kirby, does New Jersey miss the playoffs? Yes or no?
No, begrudgingly no.
Okay,
But remember this, everyone.
But they're top 3.
Jacob Markstrom does not look good when he goes to a new team in his first year.
Okay, they have Jake Allen as a pretty good backup.
I don't believe in Jake Allen. I think Jake Allen's.
But you believe in. Never mind.
Cody, you write this down. Cody's gonna be switching his mind on this, and Cody's a little low on Carolina in the Rangers.
They both got worse.
No, I think they're good. I think they're all right.
Carolina got significantly worse.
You're hitching your wagon to regular season, Shelby.
I don't really know what Carolina was doing this last season. It's just a little weird.
But again, they don't need to care about the regular season. They should be like us. We care about what happens in the playoffs. There's Toronto like that, Carolina. New Jersey should worry about just.
I just like to say this: Tampa Bay finished 3rd in the division the year they went to the Cup final for the 3rd straight year.
Yeah, but they skated through the regular season. I remember that one.
Yeah, guys, we'll talk about the West another time, but we don't really have any like cool picks out East. We're pretty like the same uniformly, sadly.
It's 7
no one
locks,
might surprise us.
One
we
up
just
to grabs.
We're not taking the leap on it. Everyone in the YouTube comments chat, share us your dark horse in the East, someone like that. See if you can sell us on it.
Like dark horse. Really a dark horse in the East?
I don't know.
Buffalo. That's mine.
You're kind of high in Washington.
I don't think there's a dark horse. I think if anybody's going to win it,
all the dark horses are West. But
right, yeah,
yeah, we'll get into that next podcast too. And then I want to let everyone know our Spaces preview show part 2 is going to be out here soon. Over on the Twitter X platform, we're going to get into Toronto, Boston, Tampa, and of course, Stanley Cup defending champions, Florida Panthers. We've got our fantasy hockey league starting up here. We're well into our fantasy football. We'll start to share some of those standings at the end of the podcast, different things like that. Maybe the last 2 to 5 minutes, we'll talk about that with, our community and different things like that. And yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to add there, Cody.
Nope. As of right now, the season starts in 8 days. The ring night's in 7 days. And
7, it's after midnight here. So
I don't know when this podcast
7 technically
will drop, but it should be out in plenty of time before banner night.
But as always, let's go Cats.